We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. So, hey, everyone. This is Friday night, and Friday night is a pontificator night. So, with us, with myself, we have Zach and we
Hello.
have Chester. So, how you guys doing? How you doing, Zach?
Doing pretty good. Working on a piece for tonight's Friday night auction. So, yeah, gonna do that.
Didn't you have one? I know you were on the Chrono Mechanics one, so you have that to sell as well. Did you do mics this week as well?
Well, I did both. I did digital this week, so I can't sell those.
Oh.
Because they only allow you to go on there and sell your traditional stuff. They don't allow you to go and just sell prints.
Yeah.
I'm doing some traditional stuff specifically just for tonight because I like to hit the lurkers that only have like $30 in their pocket. So I do like the smaller flash or lightning round ones,
right,
to help out the smaller community and let everybody else do the the $500 cover art extravaganzas. So
the subject was like Capcom, right?
Yeah, this week was Capcom on the Drawn and Quartered.
Yeah.
And so Siege and I actually did a collaboration piece.
And
she did Morgan and I did Felicia, and I put them together and colored it, and that's up. So, and we're gonna try to get Matt Weldon so we can do a trio next week.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we haven't had Chester on the show in a while. How have you been?
I'm doing very well, sir. Nice to be here. Excited, as usual.
Yes. And you have a hard out in a half hour, right? So we only have you for a brief time.
Yeah, no, I have to run up and do a jazz festival in the city.
That's awesome. So what time do you have to be in the city?
Noon, which is in 2 hours from now. It's about an hour and a half drive, so.
That's too early for a musician, you know? I mean...
Yeah, but they don't listen to us, man. They're a bunch of bureaucrats. But it's a nice festival, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, you should be going on at like... Yeah, you should be going on like at midnight or something like that.
Yeah, well, the show ends at 5, so it's...
Well, the subject for today is going to be comic book properties that we would like to see made into movies. So if anybody in the chat has ideas, throw them our way. And we're not going to get too heavy this time. We're not going to get too deep into conversation, although it probably will go that way. But it's not going to start that way anyway. So Zach, do you have a comic book that you'd like to see made into a movie, or maybe
many
a comic book property that was maybe missed over or done poorly?
Ooh, for there's on both topics a bunch of hit and misses. Like Aeon Flux could have been so good.
Oh yeah, good point.
But it wasn't.
No.
But what I would really like to see is if a really like a studio that really wanted to take a property and make it good. I would love to see Tokyo Ghost.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
You know,
that's good.
Like done properly though, not Disney or anything else. I like an actual like noir, dark, R-rated, yeah. You know, kind of Blade Runner type. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic-esque. Yeah, Tokyo Ghost is awesome, dude.
Mm-hmm. So, but that would be my pick for now. What about you, Chester?
Well, first one off the top for me is Silver Surfer, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see a great Silver Surfer movie, man. Right?
Weren't they gonna make one? Wasn't that a thing? That no, they did a Fantastic Four that had him in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and they did him pretty well, actually. I'd say he was rendered properly. But no, I want to see his story. He's got a great story. Silver Surfer is cool. It brings us into a more cosmic thing. It's certainly something that Marvel seems to want to do. So why not? Oh, Valerian. Oh God, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, that was so sad. But I agree with that Tokyo Ghost one too. But another one that I would really like this and see them do properly is something like maybe Power Pack for a family movie.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Like,
know?
would it be in the vein of like an Incredibles, where it would be more dramatic, or would it just be played up for fun?
Oh no, I go the Incredibles route for sure. And I mean, they'd have to make it somewhat different so they wouldn't get that comparison. But I think that would make a great family flick. And one of the things I would like to see separated with Marvel anyway, because DC is always trying to be gritty and dark, and they're failing badly. But Marvel has its niche, right? But I'd like
Yeah,
to see them split off a little bit more and do some more family stuff and some more hardcore stuff. Give us a little bit more variety.
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
Like how they
Uh,
did the Daredevil series. That was like the
Yeah,
perfect amount of fun and gritty
yeah,
for
I
a
liked it.
comic book
Yeah.
adaptation.
yeah, and that did get very gritty at times too.
Mhm.
Wasn't there one where Kingpin slamming a guy's head in the doorway?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
door?
It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It was
It was
beautiful. Yeah,
beautiful.
I loved it. Yeah. Uh, but I think there's a lot of characters we could do. But off the top of my head, I think Silver Surfer and Power Pack would be very different, and it would be fun. But what do you think, Art?
How would you? I have a couple. How would you do the Silver Surfer though? I mean, it would have to be tied into Galactus.
Yep.
How would you do just a straight up Silver Surfer movie? Because I always see him as he's a really cool character, but I see him kind of as a supporting character more than a lead character. So how would you do him in a movie?
Well, I would do the origin, of course, right up front, where he makes the sacrifice to save his planet. And then I would take him going around doing his job as a herald of Galactus, and the how it is conflicting to him to have to do that. I would play on those emotions and the drama of it, and I would end it with him heading to Earth. That would be
Ooh.
like the final shot of him sailing, surfing toward Earth.
Okay,
Um,
if this is a Marvel movie, there has to be a love interest. So how would you bring in a love interest?
Well, I mean, the love interest for him is his family in general, isn't it? I mean, that's the love of his family, love of his people, the love of his planet, which he sacrificed everything to save.
Right.
So, I mean,
But no
that's
Earth Girl, no Earth Girl.
well, maybe in the second movie.
Yeah, they are easy because there was that one movie. Earth
That's
Girl
right. They
movie.
are easy. That's
Yeah.
true. And that's how I
Okay,
do.
so just a funny, just off trail about that movie. My wife, when we were first dating, we would go to what is a relic now called Blockbuster,
Uh-huh.
and we would pick out crappy movies that we thought would just be fun to watch, and that happened to be one of them. So, and my wife will never let me pick another movie again.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was
Bad.
it was exactly what you think it should be, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Well, they
it
had-
was,
they had
but
They had an animated series of Silver Surfer that was pretty good, actually.
That
Did
that
they?
was a long time ago, though, right? That was
It was
20 years
yes.
ago or so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah,
pretty
that was-
good, actually. I liked it.
Well, I'm gonna cover the Valerian, and they did drop the ball, but I just want to make an excuse here. That would be an impossible task to really hone that down into a 2-hour movie. So I would like to see somebody try it again. I think those were the right people to do it. How do you say Luke
Luc
Besson?
Besson.
Besson. But I think they got the two leads they got for that movie just were not captivating enough or charismatic.
both of them
Yeah.
felt like they were kids. At no point did I feel like Valerian was it because in the comic he's like a man. He's like a
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a man's man. And throughout the whole thing, I was like, who is this kid? And why is he got this smoking hot lady who has the worst lines and says the dumbest things throughout the movie. You know, like it felt like they should have just focused on a very small part of that universe and really just like kind of develop that small part, like who is Valerian and stuff like that, instead of trying to do the whole save the world, the universe thing right off the bat.
Yeah, because that would make a great serialized like Netflix show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like an ongoing cliffhanger action adventure show. I think that would be the best way to do it. Well, we have Durakin in the stream here. How are you, man?
Doing good. Just wondering if the topic is talking about movies that I think are good that everyone else hates.
We're talking
about
that's
movies.
No.
Yeah, we're talking about movies that we would like to see on the big screen, like comic book adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, none of them. The movie should go away.
Oh, you think the movie should go away totally?
All movies should go away. Theaters are horrible. What's wrong with people?
Well, maybe if we have time after Chester leaves, we'll talk about that. But I think while we have Chester, we should all try to get in our comic book movies. So we already got Zach's, we got Chester's. So mine would be, I'd actually see Bone. I think it would be great as an animated kind of a Disney or DreamWorks kind of feature. I would like to see Chrono Mechanics, actually.
Of course.
Of course, yes, of course.
Somebody said they said New Gods. So I think that would be cool. But for me personally, when I was young, I loved the Jim O'Paro Spectre. So I'd love to see like a mobster background to it with what's his name? Oh my gosh. What is the guy's name? The Spectre's name? I'm blanking now.
Well, it's not Mark because that's Moon Knight. So
there's two.
Jim Corrigan. Yeah. So like they always had a tagline like, on the day Jim Corrigan died, his spirit remained as the Spectre. And I don't know if you guys read those. Anybody in the chat? But it was really cool because it felt like it had a beginning, middle, and end. Because usually, comics, especially older comics, would just be ongoing. But this really felt like it had an end. So it had the origin of Jim. So he was trying to bring down the organized crime in the city and stuff like that. And so he was killed for that. And so then he comes back as the Spectre. And then part of the story, which was pretty cool, and Frank Miller pretty much made a career of this, is what do they call that, where you reconstruct the character or deconstruct the character and then you build them back up. So what they did is they actually had Corrigan, I think, bring down the big bad. Right, so he was granted his humanity back. So he was human. So he got to rekindle his relationship with his girl and everything like that. And so what ends up happening, just like these reconstruction or when they redesign these characters, is they have to bring them back to where they were originally. So what happens is he has a great life again. He's with his wife, and so what happens is he goes out on a call or something like that. And so his wife is waiting at home and he's not coming back. I just remember this visual like it was yesterday. And so then you hear ding dong on the door. And so she goes up and she turns the knob and she opens the door, and hanging on the door is Jim's lifeless body. And it just comes in and he's just hanging on the door. So then of course he's granted the Spectre powers again, and then brings down the rest of the mob. But what was really cool about the Spectre, I thought, and the Crow pulled from a lot of these ideas, is that he would kill the person, or he would use the same crime as the person used against the victims. So I remember there was one where this guy murdered somebody in a wood chipper. So what the Spectre did is he didn't kill him. He didn't throw him into the wood chipper. He just turned the guy into wood and just left him in the pile. So the next day when the guy, went to work, he just throws the guy's body in there like it's a piece of wood and chips him up. So I thought that, because Zach was talking about a more R-rated type of superhero, this would definitely be a cool, creepy mobster R-rated movie. So I would really like to see the Spectre done. How about you, Draken?
Sounds like a cool movie. But I'm confused whether like the Spectre is a confusing character to me because all I know about him is that he got killed, came back as the Spectre, got granted the powers from I guess God, and then he somehow he lost the powers, and then he came back as he somehow made his way into heaven, and then some other guy came up with his same name, and then he came up as a Spectre. That they replaced the character and they completely forgot that he was a complete replacement.
Okay, yeah, this is the later stuff. I didn't read it after the Aparo. Somebody brought up maybe that's the one that you're referencing. The where is it? The Ostrander Mandrake's Spectre. I remember the visuals were very cool. I don't think I ever read them though, but it seemed like that Tom Mandrake definitely had a handle on the visuals.
Yeah. Well, because Spectre is so overpowered. I mean, he's an entity, right?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe something more in line with what you're thinking, something like a Dead Man might be easier to do?
I wrote it down here. Yeah, but the reason I would like to see it done. I just don't know which version they would do because he was basically he was a dead version of The Fugitive. Remember the old TV series, The Fugitive?
Yeah.
So Dead Man was it was basically the plot to The Fugitive, but he was dead.
Yeah. I just thought it might be a little easier because he's more vulnerable. I mean, Spectre is Superman in many ways, in some ways more.
Yeah.
He's so powerful.
Somehow they killed him in that story. They humanized him and then killed him. Yeah. So I don't know, man. If you did that story that I was outlining, that could make a 2-hour adventure, and then you could humanize him by giving him his humanity back, and then having him have to reclaim, the Spectre mantle. So I don't know.
Well, you could do the whole Green Lantern thing with Spectre when he was the Spectre. I mean,
oh yeah.
Where you go the whole rebirth route.
Yeah, once they reestablish, or if they ever get the DC universe established cinematically, then they could do that.
And Vailnid, just so you know, everyone tells me that Chester sounds like a cartoon name and they hate it, and they think my middle name is better. So I'm taking it out for a run, taking it out for a spin. What do you think? They're gonna insult me no matter what, so I'll just have to suck it up. But
Well, you're either a cheetah or an ape. Which do you prefer?
I'll take the ape any day.
How about a bear?
That's more what I am. But everyone says it looks like a cougar picking on poor Gary Shipman. I love Gary Shipman.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, we have one more to chime in. So, Durakin, what do you think?
Oh, well, the only real movie that I can think of that's really good for like a 2-hour thing is some of the Dead Earth series. Like I love the Robin Dead Earth comic, where if you haven't heard of the series, it was like in '96 DC put out a line of comics for annual where it was presumed that the Earth was like destroyed or something like that, and in the future, like they launched humanity out into space, and some of them left, or there was like some remnants left over, or something like that. And like with Robin, what happened was they're on a starship going to another planet, and it's discovered at some point that what happens is that they're all being they've gotten used to this life where they keep on getting reprocessed. They don't have enough food or anything like that to make it to this another star. So they live from like to about like 20 or 30 years old, and then they go through this ritual where they go into this factory, and then they become the newer and the earth and everything like that.
Renewal.
They just get reprocessed.
Gem on their hand.
Yeah. It's a good show because and what happens is that Batman apparently finds out about this and he rebels against it. And so you got the Jokers who are like cops like cars or something like that.
Okay.
And you got the Batman using the technology to fight against him that he has, and then because he's been around for so much longer, he has all this knowledge. And one of the people that learns of this is like Tris Plover. He saves her and then reveals himself because he needs help. And what he needs help is to reset the thing.
Yeah, give us a point of reference. So what? Because I never read this story. What characters are in it?
It's Batman. Oh, it's none of the regular characters, but they're they use the what are they called? The themes of Batman, Robin, and Joker.
Okay.
From
so it's like
what I remember.
Although I have to say the word Jokers is offensive just on principle.
You Joker.
It's not an Elseworld, but sort of is. It obviously, since it's supposed to take place in the future, and there was like a number of these that happened, like that they did. One is where of course, the Earth got blown up, and in the far future, there's these miners that are mining out this asteroid or whatever, and it's remnants of the Earth, and it's the old farmhouse of the Kents, and it has Superman's ship on it. What happens is the guy opens up the computer core of Superman's starship, and it gives him the message that Jor-El left him, and so he starts believing that he's Superman. He's the last son of Krypton, but he doesn't have any of the powers. So he uses technology to formulate the powers.
Well,
and he goes off, tries to be Superman.
To be a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, that sounds.
No, it's a single issue comic though. So
that's one issue.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are all one.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it's not a series. It's just one 48-page graphic novel.
Yeah. And there's like 14, 15 of them.
Oh, well, there's 14, 15 of them, though.
No, they're each one-page comic, but they're taking on their annuals for that series.
So the one story you're talking about is just a self-contained. Is it 20? It's 48. It has to be 48 pages, right?
It has to be something like that. I can look it up because I have them somewhere.
Well, I do have to leave here in a couple of minutes, and DeWolf is going to be coming in and taking my place, which is awesome. But before I go, I do want to make one other mention for a movie, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I would love to see Black Monday Murders made into a series.
Black Monday Murders.
Yeah, it's one of the best comics I've seen in the past 10 years, dude.
Who put that out?
Let me make sure I don't mispronounce people's names. Hold on a second.
And how long ago? I'm gonna look this up.
It's in run. It's in run right now.
Okay.
It looks like they're 38 pages. All these annuals are 38 pages. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's coming out from Jonathan Hickman and Tom Coker. Now, we had Coker on the show, actually, on FanSpeak, and we had a long conversation with him about the project. And it's one of my favorite books right now, dude. It's impressive. It's adult, too. It's full-on adult. But that is dealing with a little bit of supernatural detective story. But it's just really well done. And of course, Hickman is really good at what he does, and Coker's art is the top of the field right now.
Wow, I'm going to look this up. How many issues are they into that?
Oh, geez, quite a few. I've read all the way up to current. I think they're in a bit of a hiatus right now. But let me see if I can't check.
Is that Image? Who's putting that out?
Maybe it is Image. Let me check real quick.
I have to ask real quick, Zach, what are you using to blend that? There's like this little tool that you're using. You're going over the gray areas with. What is that tool?
It's a little what do they call them? They're just water brushes, and you can put water and ink in them, and it'll just basically do exactly what you want it to do. And what I tend to do is put a really light sort of mixture for blending, and then I'll have actual like full on tones and shades over here, and so that I can, if I need it to be a little bit darker, a little bit stronger, I just dip and go in, and then I can blend it out with the water as it comes out.
So it's just filled with water, and so you're dipping it in the white paint, and then just kind of painting over with like a really thin white like wash.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It is Image, by the way, and it's been running since 2016 or so, I think.
Okay, well, that's some reading for me to catch up on. That'd be very cool.
It's impressive, very impressive. But anyway, guys, I'm at the end of my time. I got to run out. I got to do the music
Get
stuff.
out of here, Chester. Just leave. Just go.
And DeWolf
Nope.
is going to jump in. So thank you very much. Thank you, Zach. Nice to see you, Dragon. And thank you, Art, as usual. And hopefully next week I have nothing scheduled, so I can actually do a whole show.
Cool.
Well, thanks, Chester. Go jazz it up and have some fun. Entertain some people.
I will
have a bear of a time.
Yes, and I'm going to be drinking beer in the street as I play. Ha ha! Rock on.
Nice.
All right, guys.
All right, brother.
Later.
See ya.
Take care. So let's add the wolf in and get a new take on our subject. So let's first catch up. How are you, Todd? We can call you Todd now.
Funny, yes, you can actually say Todd because that other imposter. Just had a rough day, I have a regular standard job, and some things been going on there that just makes it puts a lot on me. We had a guy retire, so there's not very many of us in the shop. So as to two guys, the workload ups, and you just kind of lean in. Right?
Yep. You just have to get through it. Yeah. So other than
Chester,
that, how you been?
Great. Oh, I've been doing good. I've been doing adding write a couple of thousand of words writing. Yes, and it's nothing that anyone will see. So in comics, what I figured is there's so much writing that you do that no one sees. The reader experiences this writing, but they don't read. So it's a totally different thing. It is a totally different thing because, normally you're writing prose. Every word that you put for the reader to actually read, to give them an impression of the world. And in this particular instance, world building and creating backstory so that world is living and has life. Manifest has more information that he can add into the background as he's going over things. So all of these things that I'm writing then are words, except maybe the dialogue. Other than that, all those other words, the reader to experience but not actually read. And I'm trademarking concept to say that.
So are you talking? I'm a little confused. So are you talking about how you have to write the descriptions for the artist? So you have to basically set up the scene, character motivation, and that stuff? Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Right.
That no one will ever see? Okay.
I read that part. And then there's the rest of it, which is right. Except the artist, and maybe a few other people, depending upon, maybe editor that's looking at your work or you're sharing it with, So background, just backstory. So if you jump into a world, You got to create that world. Pick up right where you're in the middle of a group of people who were once evil villains in a world that you know of. They all have backstories, and then they say, Avengers are gone. We are now going to form a team, Avengers, and call ourselves the Thunderbolts. Everybody knows that, and you can do that. You could even make a movie out of it. Here comes the segue. And if you're starting from scratch, you have to build all this up in the background. An idea of where to go with your writing, and the artist has an idea of how that world should look and feel.
Right. So, is this going to be your movie, your comic to movie idea here?
Caught that. So I've thought of several of them, actually. One of those is Thunderbolts. And this one is because we actually have the MCU, I think, at the perfect position. They kind of need some more villains that they killed off, that they could have just left living. Like if they would have kept him around and threw him on the raft, then we could have brought him back out. Otherwise, you have villains in the MCU already. Right? We saw that happen. So we kind of need a new super group to take over. All these people are now 5 years later. They don't know what's going on. They've been in some never realm for 5, and they don't know what's going on. And bam, bring together right? He could maybe have an Iron Man type suit. You could have had the Shocker concept, Ivan Vanko, if he was still around. He would have been interesting. This ghost character, right, that we saw with and take some of these other people, put them together, make a bad guy movie, and make it kind of like they could get together, they could be equally cool, and then by the end of the movie, we out, because it's not like an idea that we want to stretch on and on.
Do you think they could retread that or reformulate that with like a Defenders type, like rebrand the Defenders, or do you think since Netflix they kind of killed the Defenders idea?
Yeah. Well, see, they haven't talking. You left off Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Could they bring in the Defenders again? That would be great. I would like to see. I would love to see Daredevil character and Spidey of Daredevil trying to explain what it is to be a crime fighter to this. I think that'd be a great scene.
Oh my gosh, Todd, that would be awesome. Because if you go from like Tony Stark to Daredevil, he's getting a completely different viewpoint, and you can play on that whole theme of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and you have this like really grizzled, bare knuckle brawler, talking and maybe somewhat mentoring Peter Parker. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and he sort of has that Spidey sense because he has his right, and I think they would get along well. And I think when they first interacted, he's the devil. The Spidey kid's gonna like, dude, you're the devil. You're dressed up as a bad guy. I got to kick your butt. So old Marvel superhero thing where the good guys got to fight each other, and then they work out. They're good, and then they got to go up against somebody. Which, if you brought in the Kingpin from Death, thing could be amazing.
Well, also,
wouldn't it be interesting
to? Kingpin is a Spider-Man Daredevil villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be interesting to introduce Osborn? Introduce Osborn with what is it, Patriot armor or whatever it's called, where Osborn is set up with like Iron Man armor, but it's like Captain America. Like, have him introduced as that character, like into the MCU, because there's no Osborn in MCU right now.
Right.
Oh, for this idea, yeah, bring in Osborn, make him a so-called good guy, and then he turns evil. Ooh.
So the Thunderbolts were villains disguised as heroes. What was the Thunderbolt concept again?
They were reformed,
so there was the Avengers.
Supposedly,
Avengers found themselves being basically dead. They got rid of them, and so they brought in to take their place, and they were Baron Zemo, yeah, was the leader of them, and he brought in the Beetle, the Spider-Man villain. He called himself Mach 5, so changed their characters a little bit. They games Citizen X, I believe, is what Baron Zemo went by. Citizen.
But the way they did it in the comic, though, is they branded them as like all new heroes, right? And then they revealed it that they were these villains. Is that what it was?
Yep.
So it's kind of like Suicide Squad in reverse.
Right. So we're cool. We're good. We're here to help. And then the idea, eventually, Baron Zemo was going to, basically take over. The whole idea was to gain power and influence, and then use that for their own self. But you had people like the Beetle. I'm not sure if Sonic, of course, is another. I think that was her Thunderbolt name. They kind of good guys. So you had lots of tension and drama start up between them.
Dude, these are some good ideas, because this would be a lot of fun if you just, launched a movie like Marvel just launches a movie, right? And they go, okay, this is the Thunderbolts, and they make these characters so likable as heroes under their selves, and then you reveal that these guys are all these major villains. And then I think what you're saying, Todd, because I never read the series, is that some of them end up staying true to their roots, right? And then some of them kind of like being good guys. Is that correct?
That's exactly.
Oh my
right.
gosh, that could be a great movie.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you just gave Marvel $1 billion franchise.
Equivalent of the Suicide Squad. They're kind of the equivalent of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but I like this because they're different characters, so they're trying to like hide their identity, because no one's going to buy it, a bunch of heroes, if you obviously know that it's Zemo and all these other villains. So that's the twist. And then the twist is for the reader or the viewer of the movie, they get to see that they're actually villains. The only thing is, like you were saying, DeWolf, that they would have to be villains that are already established in the cinematic universe, right? For people to understand it in a movie.
Yeah. And now you could kind of scour around through all these movies and try to, even like, I'm not sure you could do it with the Vulture as well. He'd have to radically alter his suit, having Michael Keaton in there to do that. Like I said, Justin Hammer, which, by the way, Justin Hammer, that's a whole there. Which going back to Marvel, the Armor Wars would be a great thing to see, because you've got Iron Man, and even in Iron Man, more country, like Korea, trying to develop a suit of armor, and it did out, right? Even though the pilot supposedly lived, according to Justin, but this is where Russia starts building armor, China starts building armor, all these countries start building armor, and now it becomes a new Cold War, an arms race for a new Iron Man flick. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead, Rocky.
I don't know much about the actual team and the story behind it, but I think a good movie that they could do is after the next Thor movie, where they're supposed to have Jane Foster become Thor or whatever. The next movie after that, they could do the Thor Force. That'd be a good thing. Just thematically, it would be a perfect time to do that.
What is the Thor Force? I don't know what that is.
Where everyone gets the power of Thor, or they all get axes or something like that.
Is that the one where they have the frog with the hammer?
I think
No.
so. They all get like different hammers. That's all I know about it. And there's always like a whole bunch of cool images for it, but I don't know the story behind it at all.
I think the frog with the Thor's hammer would be fun to see right next to a Rocket Raccoon.
Oh wait, no, the frog thing
Going
that's
outside.
Thor from an earlier thing.
That's something different
Yeah.
because he's got the little
Going
Thor
outside
hat
of
on and
Marvel.
everything.
It'd be interesting to see Gen 13. I'm sure the chat will
Oh,
light
yeah, I
up when I
worked
say
on
Gen 13.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
It would be a young teen, kind of Teen Titans thing without the baggage of the DC universe.
How could I not know about
No.
thick redheads?
What's that?
Absolutely.
How could I not know about thick redheads? I don't know anything about them. I just know about the pictures.
Well, she's a powerhouse. She'll kick your
Yeah,
butt.
absolutely.
So how would you like to
Great.
see Gen 13 done cinematically?
I'm sorry I
Wolf,
missed
you
that.
brought it up.
Oh, I was asking you, DeWolf, how would you like to see Gen 13 adapted from comic to film?
Yeah, exactly. Now I have to admit that I have a bunch of back issues in my boxes and stuff, and I haven't exactly read through them. I just kind of remember Gen 13, how much I enjoyed it, and well, and of course, what was going on. I mean, you had these beautiful people, engaged in this a group that was put together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
What would
How would you do it?
what would the age
How'd
range
you
be,
do
though? I mean, it's pretty young, right?
well, you
Like 50.
you don't have baggage. You don't have baggage from DC. You don't have baggage from Marvel. You don't have any baggage. So you go straight to the core material of it. Just bring it out. Because what they did with Transformers, one of the biggest things they did with Transformers is they threw out a young girl who didn't act very well and put her in a tight t-shirt. Right.
Do not insult Megan Fox.
So,
How dare you?
So with Gen 13, you'd have the same idea. They want to do. This is what happened with Fantastic Four. When Fantastic Four came out, they said, let's make attractive kids and let's make them Fantastic Four, and it ruined the movie. You needed old, established astronauts and physicists and scientists. 13, you could go completely the Transformers route. Just go ahead and get them in the role, make them buxom, and you'd enjoy it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, the only problem with these movies nowadays is that when you're going, who do you cast for these movies? And a lot of these characters are designed to be super sexy. Modern Hollywood doesn't have those people anymore. They don't have the super sexy actresses or anything like that anymore. They've gotten rid of them all.
Well,
Yeah,
if
you'd
they
have
were
to
going to do it right, you'd have to dig them up, find them somewhere.
Yeah, you'd have to find them in smaller venues. Actually, trying to be actors and actresses. You could go low budget as far as that was concerned. If you needed the CGI, because superhero flicks need lots of CGI to pull off what they do. For that, and these people then would now would kick off their career. I think.
I think this might be another pontificators topic altogether. But when did it become when did Hollywood stop looking for actors and actresses from actual theater backgrounds and looking at like the casting couch background? You know what I mean? Like when did that shift where it was like the actual talent versus just if they're attractive? Because because I actually have a few friends that are in theater, and they're amazing actors and actresses, and they're really, into their craft, and they do theater shows. They travel all over the world to do these things, and it's like, well, why doesn't Hollywood like hire these people that can really do a great job of doing something, and they do it all the time? It's their job. You know what I mean? And
well, that's a good question. I think the bigger question is just like, why do the wrong people get these jobs like constantly? Even directors and writers and stuff like that. When you have some writers and directors that have contempt for the source material, why are they even doing it? Like, why is Rian Johnson working on Star Wars? The guy has contempt for it.
Well, it's I believe at this point it's kind of a good old boy. Of course, good old boy network makes you think that they're actually good old boys, but they're not. It's a prima donna network. It's a nepotism area at this point. It's who do you know? How did you get there? And look at how many of them are actually sons and daughters and actresses.
Yeah,
So
good old boys likes boobs.
Almost,
Modern Hollywood has no boobs.
Huh?
Yeah.
Modern Hollywood has like no breasts in their actresses.
Oh.
And good old boys likes breasts.
Yes, they do. Well, especially if they're heroic. I mean, you want them to look healthy and tough. I mean, it's like a guy without a chest. Like, does he look heroic? I don't know, because they always like to say that it's all sexist. I think we're getting off topic, but that's fine. We got an hour. We got an hour.
What's that? We're doing? Pontificating.
You were pontificating.
No, we are.
But now I'm starting to think like the sexism. So this is a little bit of a sidetrack and a new topic. But sexism, where they go like, oh well, feminists look at comic books and they go, oh look at what the males do with the female figures. Oh, they're so voluptuous and they're this, that, and they're all like overly sexualized. But if you think about it, the men are overly sexualized too.
Oh yeah.
They have skin tight suits on. They have tight buns. They have huge chests. They have all these things. That's heightened. That's sexualized. So I never quite understood where the argument with like, oh, it's
We're exploiting women.
Or what's that?
We're exploiting women. How dare you? You exploit us.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a little bit of another topic, but how do you guys feel about that? Do you think it's a bunch of baloney, or
you want to know where that comes from? At least as I think about it, like all the mediums that we have right now, like there are, like all of them are being attacked by the same ideology and all like that, and it's largely females that are attacking this. What I think is happening is that one of the currencies that women have is controlling the male attention. And games and movies and all these things are basically taking that. And so women are looking at all these things and looking at the fake women, looking at these characters and going, those are stealing my power. So it's not actually about the characters being sexy. And it's sexy and sexual, not sexualized. They're already.
That's what they say, though. That's not how I look at it, but that's how they feel.
But yeah, and it's just that they're looking at it this way, and something instinctual is happening there, and they're like, we can't have that because they're taking it away from us. You're taking our power away from us. That's what I think is happening.
So power hungry women is what you're saying. Power hungry.
At an instinctual level, it's
it's not just. It's not just power hungry, because if you go to a party, women are in a room, right? One woman looks at another woman's man, and he looks back at her. Well, obviously the other one now, she feels threatened by that, and so Draken may be onto something, because here you've got that going on with the whole media, and they're threatened with that attention.
Well, it's funny because I've done comics for my whole adult life. And so you work on these books and you show them to just, normal people, just average Joes. And they're like, usually the guys don't say anything like, "Oh, that's really sexy," or whatever. But the women will almost always say, like, "That's unreal. Look at the size of those, blah, blah, blah. This is so, like kind of wrong and so sexualized or whatever the terms they're going to use." And then I always just think like, yeah, but what about this guy right here?
What about Superman?
Like,
He's his underwear.
What about the billionaire with abs? Is he sexualized? I mean, you like money and resources. That's what the main signifier of sexual identity in men is, like being able to provide resources. There you got Superman being able to provide every single resource with his power, and Batman who's able to provide every single resource with his mind and his money. So if you can't say those are sexualized, then you best shut up about the women.
Yeah, they're definitely heightened, but I'm mostly talking about like the physical, like the way they look, because like there are characters that have just bare chest. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have clothes on their chest, and like, what is that if that's not kind of sexualized or sexy? It's ridiculous.
Well, what are they doing? They're all fighting. They're all doing these activities. They're in combat and it's pretty much domination play. They're fighting for resources. Again, it goes right back to it, and that's what is a main attractor.
Yeah, I mean that's what most people like about it, but it's like the average, they just look at it and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is gross. Look at her. Oh, that's that's so wrong." And I'm like, "Okay, but what about this guy?" And you know what? They did it in the movies.
Yeah,
like if you look at the movie, like every one of those actors, like Chris Evans and Hemsworth and all those guys, even Tony Stark, what's his name, Robert Downey Jr. in the first movie had a bare chest scene. So what is that then?
Well, the thing is, I think as men, we as much as it's I don't know, stupid culture of like you're not if you there's like a homosexuality weirdness to like saying like there's an attractive man. It's like, no, we can appreciate each other being like, wow, he really took care of himself, and we don't get threatened by that as much as because in our head we already live in a fantasy world because we're kids. All men are children, just older. So we all have this, like idealized, like, oh man, we look at the big screen, we're like, man, I need to go to the gym. That's how we think of it. Like when we see things like that, if we don't go like, I feel so violated. I
heard Adam Carolla talk about this, like, and this is going to be really sexist by some people's standards, but like men's worth is by their money. Like that's like women are like, if you're a good provider, so there's practicality there. Like if you can take care of a family, then that's attractive. But for a woman, like it's their beauty, it's their attractiveness. And then usually you end up getting a hot woman based on how much money you make. Like I said, this is very sexist. But this was Adam Carolla talking about that. And I think on some level that's right. So a man, is able to get a woman based on, not always. I mean, this is just, a very generalized idea, but, by how much money they make or how well they can provide. And then a woman, gets a man based on how hot they are, basically. So do you guys agree with that?
It's not so much how hot they are. It's more of how attractive they can be, how sexy they can be, how much they control a male or multiple males.
Yeah, so
it's more about control.
They trade up on their looks. And so where I was going with this is why men and women, because Zach was talking about like guys don't get too hung up on it and women do, I think is because men don't overly define themselves based on their looks, but women do, or society looks at them that way.
Well, let's
for instance, you're talking about Iron Man. I think it was Iron Man 2, in which he he's got these banging out, and they show his big arms and stuff, and he's creating whatever the new gadget is that he has to create. I think it's the laser to create the new power source, and that you're not worried about that. You're not attracted to him. What the feeling is, take care of business. There's a problem going on. He's gonna fix the problem. He's gonna solution, and he's gonna kick some tail if he has to do it. That's the thing that comes out from that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think guys just look and they go, "Man, that guy's badass." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Right. He's badass. He's gonna take care of business. Yeah.
When we look at another man, we're not going, "Oh, that's Superman. I'm threatened by him because he has more resources." It's like, it's a fictional character. Get over yourself. If that's happening, it's like you have something wrong with you. But more importantly, when if you come across another guy that's stronger than you, well, they're stronger than you. You can't do anything about that. You're either strong or you're not strong. It's a concrete value.
Mm-hmm.
With women, where it's like, well, I'm attractive, but I'm attractive to certain people and this person, and I'm attracted to this person. I'm not attracted to that person. So it's less concrete, and so that value like changes, and it can be applied to abstract things like comics and media and everything else because it's an attention game.
Yeah, exactly. Well
So
said.
it's like all that's, like I said, it's all just an attention game, and it's like misfiring those instincts and going, "Oh, that thing is taking attention away from me." Like, you've seen the trope where it's like the hot girl is right next to the guy, and they're watching sports or they're playing video games, and the guy is just like, "Oh, I'm playing a game. What do you want? Leave me alone."
Yeah. I think sketch therapy has an interesting, it's kind of a two-part. Only the men with money matters. You can't sell laundry detergent with sexy women because men don't buy most detergent. So they have a big, bald, black guy. But then I thought this was funny. They call him Mr. Clean. I don't know if he's black, but Mr. Clean's pretty white.
In certain countries, he's black.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, based on where you are in the world, he changes marketing. But
so let me twist this around. Let me twist where we're at around.
Okay.
A little where we're at. So considering actors and actresses, what actor or actress that's in television now would you like to see in a superhero or a comic movie?
Oof.
We haven't heard from Zach in a while. Let's go with Zach.
Oh no, that's why I don't even have time to think about that. The thing is I don't watch movies anymore, and as far as actors and actresses, I stopped kind of being interested in who's the who after Robert Downey Jr. almost pretty much. Is because it was like I saw him in Iron Man, and then I was like, oh, because he's so cool. And then in Sherlock Holmes came out, and I was like, oh, he's so cool. And then there was, Benedict, but then he's Doctor Strange already. So it's just like all these my kind of people that I grew up with and I look up to, and I thought they were cool, have already been in the MCU and stuff and hero movies. So I'm like, who's a good actor now? I can't think of one. It's because whenever I watch any of these like new shows or any new films, I can't stand the actors and actresses. They're all young and they're millennials and they're idiots, and I just can't stand them. So I can't think of anybody. Like the only person I could think of that would be kind of weird, I don't know what he would do, is like Tom Hanks or somebody, So I'm kind of in this weird situation where I'm like, I don't know if there's any actors or actresses I would actually like to see play a specific role. Just because I don't know who's out there and who's actually good anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of left that scene probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, most of my references are older references as well. So how do you feel about that, Draken?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Even if I were to watch all these movies and everything like that, I generally do pay attention to them slightly, but I don't know the names of anything. I'm really horrible with names. If you give me a band, I might go, I like that band. It's like, what's its name? No clue.
Exactly. Yeah.
But But I would like to see Will Smith to come back with Hancock too.
Actually, that was a fun idea. They really blew it with the whole like what they share powers or something like that, and then they can't powers out. It got very convoluted and weird. But I thought just like a hero that was disgruntled and kind of beat up and jaded. I thought that was kind of a neat idea.
There's also the obvious one of the redhead with giant boobs, Hendrix, something like that. She'd be
Christina.
perfect for, I guess, Ivy. Yeah, like everyone likes the way she looks. Her neck muscles like freak me out. Like, like her Christina Hendricks. If you look at her picture, she has like these weird neck muscles.
Yeah, they're like these strands, like these coils that run the sides of her neck. Yeah,
I'm gonna look. Christina,
it's like she's hot, as I'm like, nah, that's cool.
Yeah, a little bit too ripped in the neck department. Too defined. Yeah, not enough softness there.
I like the Lucifer actor. I don't know his name. I like Tom Welling, but he's already played Superman. He could come back as something, but he's already Kane in the Lucifer show. I was looking up possibly good actresses to replace Zoe, whatever her name is, for the Batwoman, and Catwoman that they cast, Zoe Kravitz. I'm like, if you want to have her black, like at least make her attractive. Like that's sort of insulting, but I was like, okay, let's see attractive black actresses. I'm like, nope. And like I came across like two. I was like, maybe this will work. And I was like, here, try this one. And I looked at it and I was like, oh wait, that she's already in Black Lightning. Or oh wait, she's already in Batwoman.
Yeah.
So,
it kind of feels like we've come into an age where you start off as a hero role, like that's like a starting job in acting, and then you move on from there. For these young actors and stuff like that, like these people I don't like, the Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, that kid didn't know who the heck he was until he was Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah, who's the woman that played Mary Poppins? What's her name? The British actor.
And the new one?
Yeah, because was that Die Another Day, or what was that the Tom Cruise movie? She was really good in that. I think she's a good action. She can do good action, and she's a very good dramatic actress as well. I thought they missed the or dropped the ball and didn't cast her as Captain Marvel in the movie, because I thought she would have been a better choice. But I'd still like to see her brought in as a superhero.
Emily Blunt.
I know Angelina Jolie's a little. Who is it?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah, Emily Blunt. Thank you. I would still like to see Angelina Jolie. I know she's a little older, but
Isn't she going to be in the Eternals? Angelina Jolie?
In what?
The Eternals. Didn't they reveal that? And there was like, she was one of them?
Oh, is
Possibly?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
No, it's in the waiting room, by the way.
Captain Marvel should have been Katie Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff.
Okay, I don't know.
She ended up doing Wildstar from Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
She was also
in
Longmire recently. She's a deputy cop in Longmire. She absolutely has the attitude. I mean, because that's what they tried. What they tried to do with Brie Larson was bringing, but she's not likable. So you need someone that's likable, that actually has a strain to her, like a straw jawline. Sadie Sackhoff does, and she's also just attractive as well.
Honestly, I just raid a whole bunch of costume thoughts, cosplayers, because they're all good looking and they seem to have the costume down. They look good in the costume. Maybe they can act, maybe they can't, but give them a try. Let's see what they do.
Yeah.
And Asian actors actors and actresses because they're all good and they're being primed for like being like into the higher leagues of like Hollywood.
Yeah,
So might as well pull them
I'm
over.
gonna throw my 2 cents in, and then I'm going to introduce Todd Mulrooney and see what he thinks about all this nonsense. So there's one actor that I think is underused, and I think they missed the ball. But the way Hollywood casts and recasts these heroes, they could still probably do it. Is all the Chris's, like Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, I think could play any superhero. But the one that I would like to see more of is Chris Pine, because I think he's still a good age, and I think he could play a good comic book superhero. I thought he was great in Wonder Woman, but I was almost sad when I heard that he was going to be Steve Trevor, when I really thought he should have been Hal Jordan. I thought he would be the perfect Hal Jordan. Yeah. So,
you know who should be Alan Scott is the guy from that sci-fi show Firefly, Nathan something.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion should definitely be in the movie.
Yeah, he's an older guy and he's very charismatic. Okay, well, I'm going to introduce you, Todd. So we have a latecomer. We have Todd Mulrooney in the chat. Now we have to start calling DeWolf and not Todd anymore because it gets
no. We got to call Todd something else, like Mr. Mulrooney or something like that. Mulrooney, because Todd was here first.
Okay. So Mr. Mulrooney, we have two things we're talking about. So since you're coming in late, we'll get your take on what comic book would you like to see being adapted for the big screen?
You're looking. I know you're probably looking for Marvel, DC, but I'd love to.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Okay,
we've been all over the place.
I'd love to see Lazarus. I'd love to see Velvet. Let's see. Oh, I there's this book called Long John Silver, and it's sort of a sequel to the what do you call it? Treasure Island. Oh man, that would be awesome. It's really, really, really good. So yeah, that would be my top 3.
So did you guys read? Because I just thought about this. Magic: The Order.
Yeah.
I think that there's some kind of like Netflix deal or something like that. But would you like to see that brought to the big screen?
Yeah, but that's a really good book. But again, it's not your typical. It has some brutality in it and stuff like that, which I like. It's more of a mature book than you think you normally get from Mark Millar.
Yeah, well, we've been all over the place with R-rated movies and different things. Just it's just more wish fulfillment on what book, what comic you would like to see brought to the big screen. I think Damnation would like to see black and white. So hell's yeah. So another one that we were talking about, and I'll catch you up, Todd. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, so I had a particular person also in mind when we were talking about actors going in the genre, and one of my favorite guys who's accomplished across all is Jeff Daniels. He's done Dumb and Dumber all the way to Colonel Chamberlain, and this guy has such a range. I would actually like to see him as a super movie.
That'd be interesting because he's got such a whenever I see Jeff Daniels, he looks like my dad. So whenever I see him playing movies, I'm like kind of get this bounciness with my father. But then he can do some really good acting, and it's dark. Wait a minute, are we talking about the Dumb and Dumber guy?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I totally agree with the Wolf on this.
He's also played George Washington, so he's done everything from Shakespearean things all the way down to Dumb and Dumber. His ability to act is amazing, and I think to see him in a villain role, much like the Vulture, I think he would just make it that you would be afraid of, that you knew he was conspiring against a superhero, and the idea that he could possibly win would be there just on a fact ability to give you that ambiance from the character himself.
The wolf is on fire tonight.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Lucy Lawless hasn't been cast as anything. Well, no, she got cast as the queen, right? Wasn't she? No. Yeah, Lucy Lawless hasn't been in any movies for DC or Marvel.
Yeah, she's kept herself up. She looks really good still.
But if we're talking
HBO
about like just bringing it into, if we're just talking about taking it to like putting it on film and live action, I'd love for them to do No Man's Land and the Night Saga, like as a series.
Are you talking about Batman? Ugh.
Yeah, they're year-long stories, and
Yeah, but it
epic
went
stories.
through a lot of books, the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big undertaking too.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it. But I think they could do it if they like schedule it right.
Rockin' dreams big.
I know, right?
He wants to see these
That's what you
epic
get.
movies. Yeah.
Well, you want a TV series, you do it like, or even like to build the canon up for all these movies, you got to do those shows too. That's why the Marvel Universe's TV shows are pretty good. It's because it builds up a little bit of the lore in another place rather than just having those big movies. They just don't utilize it correctly.
Yeah, I think it's great. Dream big. That's what this is all about anyway. So Todd, what is your what were we looking for? We were looking for actors, right, that could play like some of these comic book stars. So that's the next thing that we were talking about.
Oh,
So, like underutilized.
Matt Balmer.
Who?
Matt Balmer from the Suits.
Oh yeah,
Suits.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
He's got a decent jaw.
Yeah, he definitely looks. I think he's got the face for Superman. I think he would have to, get on steroids to build that body up a little bit more. But it depends on what kind of superhero he played. Or, I mean, he doesn't have to play a superhero, but he's a good enough actor, I think. What would you like to see? What role would you like to see him in?
I don't know. Maybe Cyclops.
I'd love to see a good Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be refreshing to get a good Cyclops. I don't know how Marvel.
Yeah.
A strong guy.
Yeah, I don't know how Marvel's going to reinvent the X-Men.
They really need to cast a good. If you pin all your hopes on Wolverine, then you saw how all the movies became kind of Wolverine centric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and everyone else was sort of a bit player. You need to cast stronger actors in some of those other parts, so it doesn't become Wolverine centric. Because that's not what the X-Men are. Wolverine was always like go along to get along. He was never a leader type. He was always sort of the guy who like, Jesus, you guys need me more than I need you, so I guess I'll just help out.
I always thought he was kind of in a weird way, he was the heart because, he didn't have the powers of a lot of the other X-Men characters. But what he had is he would go back time and time again and get the shit kicked out of him. You know what I mean? Like he just wouldn't stop because of the healing factor and everything else. But most of those, X-Men characters could probably, decimate him in a heartbeat.
I can stab you with my hand.
Yeah. Well, I never understood why Magneto didn't kill him like outright.
I think the movies where they've sort of failed, they failed in their villains more than anything else.
Almost all the movies, yeah, I agree, have failed because of the villains.
Right. I mean, Steppenwolf should have been beatable by Wonder Woman alone. It shouldn't have taken the whole movie about, we got to bring this superpowered being back to life. it was just made her character seem so wishy-washy. Like she should have been able to knock his freaking block off all by herself.
Well, they should have done Starro anyways.
She's nothing to sneeze at in the DC universe, but
she can go toe to toe with Superman,
right?
Supposedly.
So, it's always been the villains to me that have been the failure, and it's why I think Daredevil was a success, was because of that villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There
you
you
go.
go.
Kingpin really helped.
That's why season 2 of Daredevil seemed kind of odd to have that villain again.
Right.
It was the Hand, But I think that actually another one that we haven't seen utilized properly is Rogue, the actual real adult sassy Rogue.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping they utilized her to kill Captain Marvel.
That would be fun. Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to do that character, then Hollywood's definitely going to have to get off their high horse and cast a really voluptuous, like charismatic, sexy Southern girl, because that's the only way it's going to work.
Oh yeah.
I know they're not going to do it, but I like Olivia Munn's Psylocke, but that franchise is now gone. So
I think she looked good. I don't know if she's a good enough actress. I think she's okay, but I don't think she's got the chops.
Another area where you could get a decent movie, if you include like Captain Britain and those characters. I mean, don't think so small. If you're going to create another phase, then make sure you think big.
Well, I'll tell you what. Were you here, Todd, when DeWolf was talking about the Thunderbolts idea?
No, I wasn't. No.
Man, you talk about creating some killer villains. Well, I should let DeWolf tell you. Go for it.
Well, I will, and that is, if you're going to bring forward the Armor Wars, which you could then incorporate the idea of Alpha Flight and go to the Canadian teams, then bring in Armor Wars, where all these other countries are also trying to bring, and just make it a global power fest, But it's the perfect moment right now at this time in the MCU, because you have gone, you've got Hippie Hulk, you got Fat Thor, you got all these people, Cap went away. The Void, and they already did this at one time. They called it the Thunderbolts because the were gone out of the universe for a thing. It's a different. So Baron Zemo said, "Hey, I'll fill the void," and he got what was her name? Screaming Mimi, I believe, was the self Songbird. The Beetle called himself Mach 5. Baron Zemo was, and there was a Goliath guy, a giant guy, and they changed their names, they changed their costumes, and they were just a new superhero group, which we could talk about the New Warriors in a little bit, and they to save people and help people out as so-called good guys, basically creature where the eventually they could use that for their own. Now the cool drama is, and I think you can do this in more than one movie. Like in one movie, you set in the second movie, you then let it become a disaster, where some of the
exactly, or you do it as a big. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you do it as a big epic reveal, you build up for a year, where you build these guys as the heroes of the day. So they really feel substantial in the zeitgeist or whatever of the viewers. And so then at the end of the year, as the big Avengers epic, how at the end of every year they have this big old knockdown drag out. You do that, but then it's revealed that they're not going to be the saviors. they're going to be the villains.
Mm.
Yeah, and another
I
thing
think
it does
that's
is
a great idea.
that actor who was Baron Zemo, which we think good, but he did. He created the Civil War. You take this guy back and show him that he is a powerful dude with a devious mind.
Well, the thing is, in the cinematic universe, I thought he was one of the better villains because he outwitted all of them. He didn't have any superpowers in that movie. He just knew, how to psychologically mind f those guys and get them to fight amongst each other. So this would go right in with the way he's been designed in the Marvel universe if he did something like this as well. And that guy, the actor, is really good.
Are you talking about Toby something? Toby?
I think so. I think that I
Was
don't
he
remember his last
Baron
name.
Zemo or was he MODOK?
What's that?
Was he MODOK?
MODOK.
Well, he appeared in the
No.
TV.
No, this is Zemo, the one that orchestrated the Civil War. He was the guy that lost his family.
Who was he in the Marvel universe? Like in the movies?
He was Zemo. They called him Zemo.
Oh, they did. All right.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly the comic book version of Baron Zemo.
No,
but,
I know. I get it now. I remember.
Yeah.
He's something, and he played.
He figured out like how to manipulate the Winter Soldier,
right?
And then got the Winter Soldier to do a bunch of bad things, and it just basically started tearing apart the Avengers Alliance, which I thought was very. I mean, that's a smart villain. He's not necessarily powerful, but he's very, very smart. So what would be cool is if, to do Todd DeWolf's idea, he heads up a bunch of superpowered heroes, or what seems like a bunch of superpowered heroes. You go a whole year where they basically claim the mantle from the Avengers, and then at the end, the big summer blowout is they turn against humanity and all the heroes that supported them. I think that'd be brilliant.
Hey, Art, I'm gonna head out for the Friday night.
You're welcome.
All right, man.
Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you all for listening to my shenanigans, and I will see you all later.
Go make some money. Tell everybody I said hi.
Yep, I will.
All right, Zach.
Later.
Peace.
Oh my gosh, I feel like writing a script now. Let's do this, DeWolf.
One of the major problems that I have with the Marvel movies and the DC movies is that they make this critical flaw that they seem to think that all superheroes are all about action, and they're not. Like, I think that they all fit into their own little genres of their own thing. Like, I would write Superman more as a rom-com.
Oh God.
Because that's what it actually is. There's action in it, but his story is mainly romance and comedy.
But what they do is they fill the screen with too many heroes, and that's why you don't get those light moments or whatever.
The more personal beats, yeah.
Right. Man of Steel didn't even have them. I don't know why. It just seems it was just a little bit of a darker tone, but I didn't mind it. But it didn't make you sort of fall in love, or it didn't ingratiate you to the character the way he was portrayed. He just didn't have that affableness that Christopher Reeve had. Not that I'm looking for a new Christopher Reeve. That's not what I mean. But the Clark Kent aspect of him was brilliant, and Henry Cavill didn't really pull the Clark Kent aspect off at all.
Right, but they didn't even really give him much to do. They didn't even really develop a character at all in the movie. Yeah, right. I mean, he was pretty one-dimensional.
Right. He was just Superman with regular clothes on when he was Clark, and it just didn't jive.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's also, like, whatever burnout there actually is from these movies, I doubt that that's actually a thing for it. But if there is any of that contributes to it, that they're all action. If you made a detective film or a mystery film, you could have that in, like, the autumn. You could have the comedy show in the spring, you could have the action blowout in the summer, and you have it all year round, and you have all these different genres that you touch on, and then you can bring them all together into that single blowout.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. And us in comics, we're familiar with those ideas because they also did that in the Teen Titans with Tara, where she seemed like she was, a good guy, and they brought her into the Titans, and then you find out that she's working for Deathstroke, the Terminator, and all that. So we as comic book viewers, are used to this, but a movie going audience is not. So
Right.
if you did that idea, and also what DeWolf was saying is use established Marvel characters that they've already created, because one of yours was Hammer, right? You could bring Hammer in. There's all kinds of characters that you could bring in to be part of this Thunderbolts team.
Yeah. You have to go ahead and throw in here the fact that, of course, I'm a Quasar fan, and so the thing about the MCU, and it's hard to get away from it because what they've done is already, and they've created this world, and it's good thus far, except for a few things. But because these movies have their own concepts, right? Robert Downey Jr. had this idea, but it's the man or the machine, or that which is on the outside, which makes him, but the inside. Guardians of the Galaxy have this idea of family and fatherhood. And so when you look at all these aspects, Thor had his own. So I think Quasar has his own, and he has lots of ultimate power, but he's got a lot of, and I think when you look at all these movies and you look at with the depression, the suicide rate being what it is, the attack on man, a strong man, giving him some self-doubt and then allowing him to win in the end, pretty effective movie today.
All right, so you'd like to see Quasar adapted to the big screen. Okay, let's bring this full circle. Who would you want to see as the actor to play Quasar?
Oof. Well, he's kind of the all-American. It's kind of hard to get away from that trope. So I would have. He's a young guy. He was training to be a SHIELD agent. He'd be young, good-looking, regular, military grade individual. I guess I don't necessarily know an actor at the moment with a great winning smile. So,
well, my go-to is still Chris Pine. So, could you see Chris Pine playing that?
You know what? I think I'm going to go over here and click away a little bit and look up Chris Pine.
He's Kirk. He's Captain Kirk.
Love. Oh,
what's that? He was in the Wonder Woman movie with Steve Trevor.
Yeah, I could possibly see Chris Pine doing that, right? Yeah. Now he also had that is a down on her luck woman. He ends up saving her from some of a building or whatever, and she shows up in his military job wearing, I think, fishnet stockings, and so he hires her. She's not necessarily the prim and proper secretary. Is a lady in most respects. So there's that going on. There's an engineer who to help with his security firm, who is I'm not sure where he's exactly from, whether I think he's Japanese. So there's a way, you always have to have token this and token that. I guess I gotta start it myself.
Okay, how about Kevin Hart as Quasar?
Kevin Hart. Okay, fine.
That would be really bizarre.
Yeah. It's like,
he would be nothing like Todd DeWolf had just described.
Yeah.
Do you know who he is, Todd?
No.
DeWolf? Look them up,
So
man. You'll laugh your butt
I
off,
think-
man.
I think the person that you're looking, if you want to do that, is more. I wouldn't go as far as Will. So if I go for Will Smith, I go for Kevin Hart, and I can find somebody right in the middle. Good. That's funny.
Kevin
No, but
Hart,
funny
you have
en-
to turn it into a comedy.
Funny enough, I do have a script that matches what you described. Character that is has self-doubt but is strong. I have that. Should make that into a movie. It's called Arcus, but take a long time to make. So
It'd probably be epic because that's you don't think small. You only think huge.
Art,
course
do you
not,
read any European comics? Or you ever venture out to European comics or Belgian comics or anything like that?
Yeah, we were talking about the Valerian early on, how they kind of dropped the ball there, but I'd still like to see them try to do something, maybe serialized with that. I would like to see some of the Mobius ideas. It would be weird, like they would be almost like art films, like Airtight Garage or something like that. But what did you have in mind?
Oh, I was just wondering if there was anything there that was worth mining. But yeah, Valerian, that was really good. Trying to think of something that's like, Dylan Dog, do you like that character at all?
I'm not that familiar with it.
He's been around for a long time. He's very popular. Trying to think of some other ones, but they do a lot of like Western books. Of course, there's Tex, and that's always been a really good book. Even Joe Kubert did some Tex back in the
Oh,
day.
very cool.
Yeah, and that was actually a really good story. That's funny because they never mind comics for Westerns because there's Lieutenant
Oh, well,
Blueberry.
yeah, there's Blueberry, Mobius. I knew I was going somewhere with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of one Western that was mined from anything graphic novel or comic book related. And there's some good stuff there,
Yeah, Blueberry would be awesome.
right?
Well, thank you, Mortal V. I think he's talking about the Chrono campaign. Yeah, so we're up to 130 backers on Chrono Mechanics. Sorry to sidetrack us a little bit, and we're 9,704. So we are closing in on that 10,000K. So I appreciate all, and today was a pretty stellar day as far as backers. So thanks to all that's backed, and if you get a chance, yeah, go check the book out. I'll put a link in the description here for you. So thanks, guys, and oh wait, I actually gave a StreamYard. Uh-oh, how do I pull this down? Do I
just come on in, guys.
put user in a timeout? I just put user in a timeout. Can you guys see it, or did I pull it down? It should be right after Mortal V.
No, I can see it.
Oh, how do I pull it down then? Can't ban chat owner on a moderator.
Okay, if you go to the right of, actually, I'm not sure if it works on whatever you're working on, but on the right of the YouTube chat, there's 3 dots. Click on that and you can like delete the message.
Okay, it says block user and put user in a timeout. So just block user, I guess.
No. No.
It doesn't give.
You gotta delete the message. You can't block yourself, dude.
It doesn't. Oh shit! it doesn't give me the option. This is insane. I only have 2 options. I have put user in a timeout, and I have block user.
Well, it doesn't really matter because they can just come in the weight room and all like that. So
yeah. Well, sorry about
No
that, and sorry to sidetrack. I forgot that was my last save there. Wow, I'm such a bonehead. Well, you guys definitely know this is live. Okay, so here's the link.
You got backstage control. So one thing.
Yeah, so nobody can come in here and.
I've got another
so
group
Mortal
for
V.
you though.
Oh, go ahead.
So I mentioned them earlier, and it's funny because you just said Kevin Hart. We might want to discuss this as Night Thrasher for the New Warriors.
What?
I don't know anything about the character, so.
Oh my god. Kevin Hart?
The New Warrior?
No.
Well,
He's a
okay, so
comedian.
he's normally known as a funny man, but if you just let business and then and then allow him to wear Night Thrasher, sure.
No. No.
No.
No. So you're thinking,
You know, you were on a
Washington.
point, DeWolf, and now, you know, we're all turning against you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're turning against you now.
So if you go
You know,
away
it would
from
be a
Kevin
really
Hart,
good movie, probably. Tank Girl with Margot Robbie.
You think that the time is right to try to dust off Tank Girl?
I know. I don't think there's been anything that's been done with her that makes me go, "Oh, I want to see that."
But Margot Robbie would be a good choice.
She
Just
would
do
be.
an original movie. I don't care. Like, no one cares about what the actual character is. They just
But
care
that's
about
the
the
thing.
movie. So.
If Hollywood doesn't understand the character, then they'll get her wrong, and then you'll be like, "Oh, Jesus, why'd I bother mentioning it?" But if
Well, you
there's
can just tell them Harley Quinn in a desert with kangaroo people. And they'll figure it out.
Everybody was just stunned with the silence. That was pretty funny, though. Well, we should probably wrap this up. So I'm going to start with Todd Mulrooney. So do you have anything that you would like to leave us on? Anything you'd like to promote?
Geez, I wish I had something to promote. I was hoping to have Ron Garney join us on Sunday on Coffee Akihabara, but he's, he said he'd pass on it this week because he's not feeling himself. So I don't know what's going on with Ron, but hope he's all right.
That would be awesome, though. Ron's a great guy.
Yeah, he is a good guy. And he's kind of local to me. He's not far. So I was hoping to have him, but now I'm on the search for a different guest. I don't know. So I don't have anything to really push or promote other than
your YouTube channel. I mean, promote that.
Yeah, Indicom TV. Scribbattle got canceled tonight. It's too bad because I wasn't able to be there. I was away, just at dinner, and I wasn't going to be able to be on that. So unfortunately, it got canceled. But keep on the lookout for Scribbattle, which is usually on Fridays at 7.
Very cool. How about you, Draken?
Well, I have my Twitter where I'm mainly active as far as projects or anything like that. The one that's gotten the furthest is FPS Agent. It's more of an anime feel to it. And that won't be out till probably February because, it's going to be down and the artist right now is busy and I'm not paying him until the thing comes out. So, he has to do it when he can do it. So that's just how that is.
Yeah, February is a good month. So that should do well for you. Yeah. Is it a one shot? Is it a one and done, or is it an ongoing?
It's an ongoing. I'm seeing if I can get them to extend it to the second issue, but it's supposed to be. I have at least 6 issues that are planned out right now. Also have a web novel, but no one in this audience would probably like it, and I think it's a horrible thing because it's just first draft everything, right as I see it. So probably not interested in that. But if you go to my Twitter, you can find a link to it. And my Twitter is DURAKKEN. And my YouTube is the same thing. Okay.
And Todd DeWolf?
Hey, over at Flying Sidecar Press over on Twitter, where I am posting little tidbit story material from the Book of Elves. It's coming out pretty soon and coming out pretty soon. And Joseph White just sent me a can today to make sure that all the pencils were right and everything looked good. And it just, I mean, it's one thing to, it's another one to see the artwork, how the characters are actually interacting, seeing the expression on their faces. Even I just fall in love with what's going on between these characters, and the drama. It's funny. Page 5 is the drama, and page 3 4 is all action. Right? That's how you gotta do this. Make it fun, and then remember the readers why we had so much fun, because there's actually something bigger going on in the world. So keep up with me there on Twitter at Flying Psychoid Press to find out what's going to be happening with the book. And I'm going to be just boosting this up in the coming months, as it's what we do, right, Art?
Yeah. When were you thinking of releasing it?
The actual book, the actual Indiegogo, I'm going to create the page, and it's a great place to, start, set up, and reveal the audience what you're doing without actually clicking the launch button. I don't know why it occurred to me until recently. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get that, and I really don't want to create a launch for the actual full book itself, or down the road a little bit further. But that free ash can is going to be available and I would probably say, what are we in the beginning of November, possibly by the end of this month.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like where you can start a mailing list, right? Like on Indiegogo, where they can go and they can sign up.
Oh,
Is that
exactly.
what you're talking about?
Yeah. Set up the mailing list through Indiegogo.
So that is that up now?
And put some deals right then. It is because I just know because being part of the community, someone else has visit this, and
the pre-launch page.
And so when I saw
pre-launch page, yeah.
I went, why I should do this on myself rather than each other. Yeah, so it's not up yet.
Yeah, it's definitely good. Yeah, we did that with Chrono Mechanics, and we also said if you sign up early, then you have access to an exclusive, which everybody that signed up on the pre-launch page for Chrono Mechanics got a full set of the trading cards. Actually, all 10 of the Chrono Mechanics trading. So yeah, you can incentivize that, and also the really cool thing about it is they come in early. So what we did is we had, I think it was a week or 2 week. I think it was just a week. So you had to basically sign up, and you had to buy a book, or you had to support one of the tiers within that week. And if you did, then you would get those free trading cards. So there's ways that you can incentivize this, and you can do it for like the first week, because one of the main things you want to do on the Indiegogo is you want to try to get as many eyes on it and as many backers as soon as you can, because it helps with the algorithms on the Indiegogo site itself. So sounds like you're going in the right direction.
Right. Digital ash can, because it's easy to download. But I want to do and if I can do that for everybody who signs up early, that's a great incentive of the real fans. That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, perfect. Okay, so we did have Sketch Therapy in here. I was going to actually give him a parting shot, but he bailed. So I'm going to give my parting shot. So yeah, obviously you can find me on YouTube. I try to do a show every day, and I have a Indiegogo that's live right now. It's called Chrono Mechanics. They do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day, and it is a 48-page one and done. So this is self-contained. It is a fun sci-fi action adventure. Think Looney Tunes meets H.G. Wells. So we're hoping with stretch goals that we'll get to 60 plus pages. And writing with me is my wife, Pamela T. Bear. We have colors by Narwhal. We have letters by the great Jeff Eckleberry. And Render Contender is going to pencil assist on some of the pages with me. So I'm going to drop this. Hopefully, I'll just drop the link to Chrono Mechanics and not something else, so you guys can check it out. So, yeah.
Don't worry, Higgs will rip you off and make Chrono Buddies.
Yeah. Somebody will do something. Yeah, because that's the story of my life. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out, in the panel here, and thanks guys in the chat for making it so much fun and helping this thing, giving us questions and answering questions for us. So we appreciate it, and we'll see you next week on another Pontificators. Thanks, guys.